Welcome to HBCU SOUL.
You might formerly remember us as what you wish you knew about a HBCU, but we tried to rebrand, and now we are HBCU Soul.
I like the HBCU SOUL. You see, we got a brand new setup, right? Lounging out. I think, if we wanted to, we can press the button and the chairs will recline and all that other stuff. But
I mean, this one definitely helps my back. My back I can kind of kick back and kind of relax a little bit more while we talk about these HBCU.
yes, so we're back, kicking off and relaunching a brand new podcast. Wanted to change things up a bit, make it a little bit more. Where we're having a conversation about HBCUs.
Hmm.
And so HBCU Soul, one of the things that we came up and why we wanted to make that change is, HBCUs are the heart and soul to the African American community, the Black community.
I mean, definitely. If you ever been to HBCU, it's kind of like it gets in you. It's in your soul. Once you leave HBCU, I believe that you're kind of like forever changed,
Yes.
and like I bleed. What I'm saying, blue and orange.
What? I love the
Bleed,
blue and orange.
bleed blue and orange.
Blue and orange.
You know what I
And
mean?
yes. And I think we can tell people like when we were doing what you wish you knew about an HBCU, we tried to keep it a secret as to what HBCU we attended, but
Hmm.
I think we did a disservice for that.
Oh, of course, of
Yes.
course.
So, oh, by the way, my name is Kareem Penn, one of the hosts of HBCU Soul.
My name is Anthony Bond. I'm another host of HBCU Soul.
Yeah. So both Ant and I attended Virginia State University.
VSU.
The
I love
Tro
it. I love it. I love it. That's right.
the Trojan Explosion, founded in 1882. The true orange and blue. I bleed orange and blue. And I
That's
know
right.
you're probably sitting there talking about, well, why are these dudes on this podcast with Delaware State and Florida A&M? Well, part of the HBCU Soul podcast is to talk about HBCUs and dive into the rich legacy and traditions and the heart and soul of HBCUs. So, on our relaunch of this podcast, we're going to talk about Delaware State University.
Okay.
Yeah, we can see it.
Dell State.
Dell State, home of the Hornets. All right. And of course, if you remember from what you wish you knew about HBCUs, I've always had a pair of Jordans to go with it.
Listen, we're not even gonna get into that.
Yeah.
I got on the old man ones. Shout
But
out to the old man ones,
dude,
podiatrist ones.
this is my thing though. Again, like, you know, for all of you HBCU and sneakerheads out there, your university, there's a pair of Jordans out there that match that, right? So think about all of that. So yes, so we're gonna dive into Delaware State University, home of the
Hmm.
Hornets, located in Dover, Delaware. Um,
Excellent school.
excellent school, and I think is a good way to rebrand and relaunch with HBCU Soul. So we're excited, back in it. Want to give you some great insight and knowledge to Delaware State. So what I mean, and like what I know you talked about like HBCUs are in your soul. How
Hmm.
so we're about to dive into Delaware State. Like what when you hear the Delaware State University, what comes to mind right away?
But the first thing that comes to mind is, I think isn't that the only HBCU in that state
Yes,
of Delaware?
and
All right, so
only one.
that kind of comes to mind. I think about long family trips. We would always ride by Delaware State because the sign for Delaware State is literally right on the interstate.
Right.
And I just remember seeing it, and I had a bunch of friends that went there. I've never actually really ventured into Delaware State when I in let's just say in my younger years.
Okay.
As an adult, I've been there, and it's an amazing school. I have students that are going there now, students that sit there, referred there, did their applications, and they all love it.
Right.
They all love it.
So I, you know, again, being the only HBCU in the state of Delaware, um, but
Sorry
also,
about that.
no, bless you. But also, you talked about sending students there, writing letters of recommendation. I had an opportunity to go up there, and we'll talk about that a little bit more. Do a recruiting trip for
Mhm.
some teachers to come work in the county that we work in. Um, but it's just like small knit community, right? But it gives huge, like, vibrant vibes,
Mhm.
and creates that nurturing feel. So we're gonna dive into it with Delaware State. So thinking about DSU, um, founded in 1891 uh, as the state college for colored students, right?
Mm.
So colored students, African Americans, blacks. Um, this was during the time of educational, or what educational opportunities were far and few between for blacks. So here was an opportunity for um, black students to be able to attend a college and gain that information and knowledge that they needed to be play their role in society, right, as productive citizens, but to also then reach back to the black community and help to continue to educate them as well.
I mean, definitely. When you're talking about 1891, that's we still had people who had been enslaved during that time. 1865 is not that far away.
Hmm.
So, we were still trying to develop our base of educators
Right.
so that we could kind of, start to rise up in society. So, I mean, just like all the other HBCUs, Delaware State has been, extremely, extremely important.
Hmm.
It was established under the Morrill Act in 1890, which provided federal funding to states to create land grant colleges for African Americans. It's fascinating to think about how DSU started with just a few students and limited resources, but it was driven by a mission to provide higher education to those who were often denied it. And of course, we know who those people were.
Right. Right. They look like you and I.
Well, I mean, of course, of course.
Yeah. Yeah. Uh, so so thinking about that, right? You have this university that is started, um, but with federal funding to help educate blacks. So through the humble beginnings, DSU has grown significantly over the years. By the mid 20th century, it has expanded its academic offerings and was officially recognized as a university in 1993. Right? So, Delaware State is a comprehensive public institution with a diverse student body and a strong commitment to its founding principles.
I mean, I think that's the key to a place like DSU, that it's never really lost its connection to the community, its connection to the principles of the people who founded the school in 1891. And while not only maintaining its principles, it's continued to evolve.
Right.
It's continued to evolve, continue to grow. I really believe it's a testament to the resilience and dedication of the people who have been a part of this university for decades. People love Delaware State University.
Hmm. Yes, I loved it when I had an opportunity to go up there. Took my daughter up there for a visit. Um, you know, just again, like we stated in the beginning, like that HBCU. Once you're there, no matter which one, it's like in your soul now,
Yeah,
right? It,
yeah.
it it's part of you.
It's
Um,
almost like you've been like possessed.
yes,
You know what I'm
but in
saying?
a good
Like,
way,
if you're from Norfolk, you're gonna say, if I say behold, you're gonna say the green and gold. You don't even know
right?
why.
Right.
You don't even know why you're gonna say, if I say Trojan,
You're gonna say VSU
or you might even say explosion.
explosion,
So it's that's what it is.
or you might just say woo woos.
Oh man, listen, don't. Don't take me there. Don't take me to the Wolves. They broke my heart, man.
Right.
We live.
We back
We
in
live.
live. Are we live?
Listen, we live right now.
We live right now. We're doing this right now. All right. So we're going to talk about what makes DSU stand out academically, like why people want to go to Delaware State University, and what academic, what makes their academics stand out amongst all the rest of the HBCUs. So one of the things that really impresses me about Delaware State is its wide range of academic programs, from its beginnings as an agriculture and mechanical college, right? And I see you got Florida A&M on there, agriculture and mechanical college, right? So here's Delaware
I'm
State.
repping the Rattlers.
You are
low
yeah,
key.
Yes, yes. We also put that out on LinkedIn. HBCU SOUL on LinkedIn. You get a chance, check that out.
It's
Yeah,
Friday. HBCU Friday.
HBCU
We're gonna
SOUL Friday.
Keep representing.
Keep representing. But it started out as agriculture and mechanical college. DSU has expanded to offer over 42 undergraduate degrees, 16 master's degrees, and 5 doctoral programs.
I mean, that's amazing. Just starting off with just a few students in 1891, and now they have such a large, broad offering.
Right.
I mean, the programs are strong across the board. Also, whether you're interested in sciences, education, business, or the arts, DSU has something to offer for everyone. For example, their College of Business is AACSB accredited, which places it amongst the top business schools globally. That's amazing. HBCU holding a global status.
Yes,
That's amazing.
it is amazing.
And an aviation program. I mean, aviation program at an HBCU.
Right. I think there's only, I think it's Delaware State and one other, Florida Memorial down in Miami.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
So in the entire country, they're one of very few HBCUs that has an aviation program, and they've also gone on to produce some of the country's top pilots. I mean, that's awesome right there.
It's crazy because I vacation every summer, like probably twice in the summer, and I really like board a plane and see a black pilot.
I don't think I've ever seen one.
Really? Yeah.
On my plane.
All right, so obviously they're out there because Delaware State, has programs but why aren't they being hired?
Listen, you trying to get us kicked off of YouTube, man?
Now I'm just asking a question. I'm trying to figure that out. Like when I get on certain airlines, I don't see any black pilots.
That'll be for the next podcast.
Okay,
The next one.
the next podcast. We're not talking about HBCUs. Even sitting in the airport when they got the little bags.
Yeah, when they come by with the cart, with the wheels.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever seen one.
I don't. That's great. I seen stewardess and flight attendants. I apologize, flight attendants.
But what I can say is one of the students that I've sent to Delaware State is actually in that aviation program.
That's what's up. You did your job.
Yeah, so maybe one day we can actually get him as like a special guest on the show.
That would be awesome.
Because he is currently in the program.
That I like that. Yeah. So I didn't mean to cut you off, but it was just something that came to me.
I mean, it's always something to think about. It's just amazing that one of two schools that have an aviation program. That means you got to have access to an airport. You got to have access to planes. You got to have. I can imagine the biggest thing probably for an aviation program probably has to be the insurance,
right?
Because of the liability that you're taking on by having, students flying through the air,
right?
Anything can happen. So I'm pretty sure that's it. But I mean, it's just amazing. I'm proud to say that there is an HBCU. And it sounds like more than one that has a aviation program.
It's crazy because when we were down in Florida Memorial, you see the tower,
wow,
what on campus, the runway, in the plane.
Wow.
Yeah, it was fascinating. We were sitting there what? Yeah,
Need to take me a trip down to Florida Memorial.
yeah, Miami Gardens too. Not like probably 10 minutes from Hard Rock Cafe
Yeah.
Stadium. Yeah, Miami.
Okay.
I like Miami. Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, when you think about that, like having an aviation program, right? And then all the research that goes into like aviation. We're not just talking about pilots and flying commercial airlines and this and the other, but looking at how does that translate to military? How does that translate to aeronautics when we're talking about space exploration and pilots and like all those things like that research in those initiatives that Delaware State is pumping out are also worth mentioning in that sense, right? The
Mm-hmm.
university is involved in a lot of cutting edge research, particularly in the areas like agriculture, environmental science, and biotechnology.
Wow.
Yeah, right.
That's amazing.
And when you drive up there, it's a lot of agricultural land, like farmland and everything like that. So it doesn't surprise me that their their research is centered around that.
Mm-hmm.
Plus, DSU partners with major institutions and corporations that give students unique opportunities to engage in meaningful research and internships. So,
Wow.
I'm
So,
big on internships.
hey, listen. The internships they getting today don't even. They actually getting paid.
Right,
Like they getting paid for internships now.
right. Yeah,
Getting
like,
paid.
and that's a good thing. So not only you getting money, but then you're getting this wealth of knowledge. Then some of them land you right with the company that you're interning with.
Yeah. You roll right into your first job.
In that part, and I tell students like, when you're doing your research, looking at schools, who they partner with when you're talking about organizations and business and everything, or depending on what it is that you want to do, and then where are those internships, like, and
Mm-hmm.
who would you be doing internships with? So yeah,
I mean, it's crazy because the thing is, they're doing all these amazing things in the tech and STEM field, but there's also a commitment to arts. The DSU's art programs, including music and theater, are just huge, robust programs that give students a chance to express themselves creatively. While receiving a solid education. It's this blend of academics and creative freedom that really makes Delaware State an amazing place to be.
yeah. I mean, I can actually sitting here listening to us talk about it now. Like, I can see myself walking on Delaware State's campus 30 years ago as a freshman.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. And then
I mean,
that,
it wasn't VSU, but
no, no. I mean,
I
what?
probably could have gone there.
Right. There's no other place like BSU, right? The only thing it would have been closer to home, right? Probably we're talking about an hour and an hour and 20 minutes from home, from New
Okay.
York, where VSU was 6 hours, right?
Yeah.
But that was also one of those things that I was 6 hours away from my mother, and she didn't drive.
Okay. So
So,
gave you a little more freedom, huh? A
yeah,
little more freedom. Yeah.
a lot more space, right? So, but academics are like for they're important,
Of
very
course.
important, right? Because that ultimately sets you up for what what your future is going to be like. Um,
Hmm.
the job that you're going to eventually take and the career that you hope grows out of that. So by providing you with these different academic opportunities, we encourage you, as if you're planning on going to Delaware State, explore all the academic opportunities. And when you're involved in that and engaged, like be actively engaged, right?
Hmm.
You're paying that money. If you're on scholarship, don't just sit there and just be like, today I don't feel like going to class, or we have our moments, right? You know,
Listen, when we talk about not going to class, I almost didn't make it.
hmm
The
I heard this story.
we're not even gonna talk about the wall.
The
The
wall.
wall owes me money. It
We
owes me money.
spent a lot of time
Listen,
on the
when
wall,
springtime came, I barely made it to class.
dude.
but I learned a hard lesson
Right.
because I took an extra year, had to retake class in the summertime, had to retake classes at community college. So I learned my lesson.
Right.
So everybody out there that's watching this, don't listen, don't do what I do. Listen to what I say.
Right.
Because I cost myself some money with those extra years, man.
Yeah. So this is why, like, it's important. He learned his lesson that way. He's now teaching you from the lesson that he learned.
Listen.
That academics, you're there for a reason, right?
Mm-hmm.
Academics is the main reason. Now I know some of you gonna go to school, get scholarship money, play ball, whatever, make it to the league, this that, and the- right? But when all that's said and done, you need something to fall back on. So while you're there, take advantage of all these great academic opportunities that are out there for you. All right, welcome back, folks, to HBCU Soul. I like that.
Yeah,
It has a nice,
I like that name.
yeah. Not that anything was wrong with what you knew about HBCUs, right? I think that's still important. Like, there are a lot of people out there who don't know anything about historically black college and university.
But I think that's what we're still doing, though. We're still telling people what they wish they knew.
Yes,
Telling them things they don't know, things they wish they knew,
right.
questions that they might have. So we're still technically answering that question.
It is
We're telling you what you wish you knew
correct.
about a HBCU. Really, I'm telling people things that I wish I would have known.
100%.
I didn't know anything about Delaware State during this time period. I might have picked, maybe a different college, but I don't think so because
It's
I'm a Trojan, so
children for life.
I wouldn't have gone anywhere else. But if I would have known other things, that would have allowed me to make, let's just say informed decision.
Correct. Opportunities and access.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
All right.
Exactly.
We didn't have a lot of opportunities. I remember, like, it was in a magazine. Like, magazine had, like, the different HBCUs in it.
Okay.
But
Wow.
like, it didn't give you a whole lot of information. And I knew you knew about the major ones, right?
Yeah.
You knew about Morehouse because of Spike Lee. You knew about Hampton. You knew about Howard. Um, you knew about FAMU because of the band. You knew about Grambling because of Doug Williams and Eddie
Mm-hmm.
Robinson, and Southern because they always played Southern. Like, so
Yeah,
you
they
knew
play
that.
on what, Thanksgiving Day?
Yeah, that
Yeah.
weekend, right? So you knew that, but not as much as we're trying to give to you all now about historically black colleges and universities, and it's coming from the soul because
Mm-hmm.
we have that HBCU soul in us. It's like part of us, and no matter where you go, and no matter who you meet, and no matter what HBCU you went to, instantly it is love and it is a family and it is we may crack on each other about you went to, you went to Norfolk, big state is right, but at the end of the day it's all HBCU love, like
Definitely.
and it's in our soul, so we want to give that back to you. So we're going to shift gears a little bit, and now we're going to talk about what it's like to be a student at DSU, Delaware State University. The campus culture at Delaware State is something that really sets it apart. And walking on that campus, and seeing those students in that vibrant, like, atmosphere and environment, oh man, it's like, you know, right across the street is the plaza, the mall, and all that thing, and then you have Delaware State campus, and you know, walking on it, you feel a sense of pride, a lot of the history and a lot of the traditions that come with that. So
Mm-hmm.
it's I I I don't know, like,
The thing about it is, the school is known for be it's on the smaller end. It's
Hmm.
probably about the size of VSU, maybe a little bit smaller
A
when you
little
talk
bit
about
smaller,
student body wise.
right?
But at a HBCU, there's the small schools that's what it was built upon. For instance, it's a close knit community. I think Dell State has about 5,000 students, so it's big enough to offer a variety of experiences, but small enough so that you know each other. You recognize people. You talk about the plaza being across the street. A lot of students work in the plaza across the street, so it's
Hmm.
kind of like they have their own little kind of nook there.
Right,
So it's a family atmosphere when you're on that campus, so you don't feel like you're getting lost in the crowd there
right,
because you as a student there, you know people within this sphere are connected to the school.
right,
Not to mention the people locally that work in the school, that work on campus.
right.
So it's kind of like a little bubble, I believe. And I mean it's like there's a strong sense of family. You know what I mean? Everybody's proud to be a DSU alum.
I I mean, because we were just sitting here talking about being an alum of VSU, Virginia State, right?
VSU.
You know, um, so if we have that sense of pride, right, of being
Mm-hmm.
a proud alum, I know that just you know resonates with DSU alum, right? Graduating from an historically black college and university, the only one in Delaware,
Mm-hmm.
and being part of that legacy and that tradition, and that the idea of community that Delaware State has established and continues to foster, uh, that vibe extends far beyond the classroom. Um, DSU offers over 100 student organizations, including fraternities, um,
Mm.
in sororities, and academic clubs, right?
Mm-hmm. You
But
said fraternities and sororities.
I said that, yeah.
And
Um,
we all know who was the very first, who started all of that,
Now let me ask you a question.
who started it all.
So if I say this particular fraternity started it all, like if I say the year and all of that, am I
Listen,
allowed to do that?
listen.
Okay, I'm just trying
You
to
have to
figure.
say 1906. You can't say 1906. Only I can say '06.
I would have to say 1906.
Yes, 1906.
Okay,
But
but
me,
you.
I can say '006.
Oh, okay. All right, I get it now. So in 1906,
Exactly.
the Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated was established.
Established and started everything. So
Okay.
everybody who came afterwards is basically just following the path of the creators. No matter how big they get, no matter what they say, no matter what they do, it all started in 1906. But anyway, that could be a whole nother podcast.
Right.
Whole
But
nother
you would be the
podcast.
only one that can talk in that podcast. Because
Listen.
of apparently I have to say 1906 and then say the full Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated to go with it,
Hey,
right?
listen. Everybody can't be ice cold.
I get it.
Everybody can't.
I get it. I'm not Greek, by the way, but and you can tell Ant is.
That's right.
But thinking about that, right? You're talking about again sororities, fraternities, academic clubs, special interest groups. Whether you're interested in student government, sports, or the arts, there's something for everyone there. And like we're about to touch on a subject that we both like really, really.
Listen. It's coming.
I
It's coming.
right.
October 12th is coming. It's coming. The H word is coming.
Right.
It's coming.
So, so don't get it. I'll say this: like October 12th, uh, and is referring to Virginia State's homecoming,
That's right.
right? But that word, uh, homecoming.
Mm-hmm.
Talk a little bit about like homecoming and what that means, and not from the perspective of students that graduated from an HBCU, but what it's like an experience Delaware State students are going to have.
I mean, the thing about it is, if you just listen to the word homecoming, that's exactly what it is. Most people feel like their time at their HBCU. That was basically at home away from home. That's when you develop your relationships with the students. Not only the students, the teachers.
Mm,
Shout out to Miss Pam from the cafeteria.
Miss Pam.
She always hooked me up. Ignored that I was taking stuff out of the cafeteria in aluminum foil. She would just look away, and I would say, "Miss Pam, don't look at me."
Right.
And she would smile and let me take my snacks and all my things out. That's what coming back to um your campus is. It's literally like coming home.
Right.
It's like you coming home to an extended family.
Mm.
We're sharing the same memories. We're sharing we're donning the same colors. We're sharing in these shared experiences.
Right.
No matter what your college looks like we go to back to Virginia State,
Right.
and half the buildings we grew up in are gone, but
Right.
it doesn't matter. We still have that same that same connection to Petersburg.
Yes.
When I say Petersburg, we thinking about Virginia State. And all those memories just come flooding back.
Right.
And it's the same thing with Delaware State. The school that we're talking about right now. DSU homecoming is legendary.
Mm-hmm.
Now I do remember hearing about Delaware State's homecoming when I was in school.
Oh,
I never made it up, but I remember hearing people talk about it, and just some of the concerts and different things. I mean, they're known for like a legendary homecoming that has so many different types of events that brings people together. The alumni come and visit, the community, and of course there is the marching band.
Right.
The approaching storm is a huge part of the tradition.
Right.
Known for their dynamic performances that just embody the spirit of the university. I mean, you can't talk about homecoming without talking about the marching band, which
Right.
is just such a integral part of all HBCU experiences. Is that band?
Is that band?
That's right.
It's that band.
Shout out to the Trojan Explosion.
Yeah. DSU. So speaking of DSU's homecoming, October 5th, Saturday, October 5th.
Mm-hmm.
It's a homecoming game. Delaware State University Family Reunion Homecoming 2024 is what is being dubbed as. All right. So, homecoming officially begins for Delaware State on Sunday, September 29th with an SGA inaugurational brunch. Okay. Then SGA inauguration and coronation. Then you have the coronation of 2024 and coronation ball. Right. This is all Sunday, September 29th.
Okay.
Followed by Monday, September 30th with lunchtime fun freshman class. Okay. Then
nobody's going to class this week.
It's no cost is none, no cost. DSU students only, right? Then later on, student event, the backyard family cookout picnic.
That's amazing.
From 3 to 6. Okay. All right. No cost. DSU students only. All right. Then later on that evening, the reunion game show. All right. So Tuesday the 1st, lunchtime fun for the sophomore class. Then you have the well-wrecked flag football showcase later on. Right. Followed by
I like that.
Yeah. Followed by laser tag family face-off. Yeah.
Wow, that sounds like an amazing week for the students.
Right. And that's only Tuesday.
That's only Monday and Tuesday.
That's only Monday, Tuesday. Wednesday, the junior class lunch fun. Laughs and Legacy DSU comedy night. Yeah. Do you think we can go up there and be comedy acts?
I mean, I might. My students think I'm pretty funny. They always look at me and laugh. So I don't know if they laughing like with me or at me or I guess I'm funny. Might be funny looking. I don't know.
I think I get the same thing. I don't know what it is. Thursday lunchtime fun for the senior class. Friday lunchtime fun sponsored by Mr. and Mrs. Delaware State. Then you have the homecoming brunch. Then you have the DSC Legends reception, alumni welcome reception, and then the well-wrecked 15th anniversary sneaker gala. What? So if you're doing the sneaker gala, here it is. Look at the colors, right? Del State.
Don't nobody
right
care
here.
about your shoes,
What?
yo.
I guarantee somebody's gonna go try to find these.
Whatever.
Yep. And then you have the family reunion step show. The theme is heroes and villains.
Okay.
Yeah,
That's an amazing week. I
that
mean,
is.
like,
And
oh
then the
man,
game on Saturday.
and I'll be working that whole week. Like, listen, students, enjoy your time.
Yes.
Enjoy your
And
time. Go to all the events. Go to everything because once you get to adulthood, it's just not as much fun.
it's not. And they're playing St. Francis University
Mm,
for homecoming.
okay,
Yep. And then you can end it on a good Sunday going to the house of the Lord, the annual church service.
redeem those sins.
Yeah. And then clean up, right? So all you who are attending and part of the homecoming committee, you have to clean up after that.
Yeah,
So
got to get the campus back together again. That's when everybody comes and gets their service hours,
right.
cleans the campus back up, puts everything back together,
Yeah.
and get back to normal. But I mean, homecoming is just an amazing experience. Sounds like Delaware State has a amazing week of fun for the
Hmm.
students and alumni, and families are gonna be there. I mean, listen, I might have to take off work and get a little bit of that. But for me right now, I'm waiting. I'm saving my energy for October 12th
Yeah,
because
because that's the next week.
listen, so I can't go.
Can't go.
I gotta
That's
save my energy plus my money,
yeah.
my time. I gotta drink Powerade that whole week so I can be ready for
Yeah.
on October 12th and not going to sleep.
Oh, dude, it's it's gonna be amazing. So it's clear that DSU is just about. It's not just about getting a degree. It's the social aspect of things. Homecoming being a big part of that. Fraternities and sororities, clubs and organizations also being part of that. That's where people find their niche. That's where people find the things that interest them the most. And then you foster lifelong friendships and through all of those things. So continue to work that out, build on that. Aunt and I have been friends for 30 years. We just hung out with a couple of friends 2 weeks ago,
Yeah,
30 years ago.
30+ year relationships.
And like when we were together, it wasn't like we like it's like
You
we
just
didn't miss a beat.
Nah, it just keeps going,
It just keeps
just
going.
like college.
Yes.
Only thing missing was the hairlines.
Yep. Well, for you and I, D still has it. I'm confused.
Listen, we not even gonna go there. That's probably a unit. I don't
Yeah,
think that's his hair.
I don't think either, but it's all good. So this being part of something bigger than just who you are, Del State has to offer that. So take advantage of that. All right, Ant. So we're back. HBCU Soul. So we're gonna talk a little bit about the alumni, right? We talked about how the alumni comes back, homecoming, right? Again, creating that family feel. So
Mm-hmm.
when you look at DSU and the impact that the alumni and DSU graduates have had. DSU has produced leaders in various fields, from education, business to politics, and the arts. These alumni are making a difference, not only in their professions, but also in their communities. And I want to shout out to a Delaware State alum, Darnarian McCants. He was actually um, one of my track coaches at the high school I was an athletic director at. Came in, his whole thing was the hurdles. I know he set some records up there at Delaware State, playing football and track. Um, Played for the Redskins, played for the Eagles.
I don't know how
Uh,
you do that. Redskins and Eagles. That should
I
be illegal.
apologize. Hold on. He played for the Washington Commanders, formerly the Redskins, back then, right? But the
How you
Washington
play
Commanders.
on both of them teams? Though? That's like two rivals.
I don't know, but I think he played uh the year To was on the Eagles, and
Wow.
yeah. So shout out to Donarian doing great things in the field of education, art history major. So like kudos to
Art
you.
history.
Yeah, art history.
I just knew he'd have been a PE teacher.
Right, but no, art history.
That's
Um,
interesting. I mean, that's something that kind of just lets you know just the different types of alumni that have come through some of these universities. You got a football player who went to the NFL, had a very successful career,
Mm.
and he was actually an art history major.
Yep.
And I never knew that.
Yep.
That's interesting.
Yep.
Interesting. I mean, DSU has had a lot of different alumni. I mean, you'll see people that have gone on to do amazing things in politics, in sports. That we talked earlier about the pilots
Yep.
that have come through the DSU aviation program. I mean, for instance, you have DSU alumna Dr. Wilma Michaud, who was the first woman to serve as the university's president. You know, a role that she took after decades of service in higher education.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Listen, first female president. You know,
That
ladies, well, in a minute we might have a first female president, so that'll be amazing. Who was also a HBCU graduate.
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
we'll see
We'll see
what happens
in November,
in November.
right? You know, I think the HBCU world will go crazy.
Listen,
Like,
but I think you know what I think when I think about if she does become president, it's like fulfilling a destiny of when HBCUs were established.
right.
To have the first black female president be a graduate of HBCU, be in a sorority.
Hmm.
It's just kind of like it'll be coming like full circle.
Full circle.
But I mean, we'll see. We'll see.
We'll
you know.
see, right? I mean, anything can happen,
Yeah.
right?
I mean, listen, it's
But
a lot of work to do.
a lot of work to do. But if it does happen, can you imagine how many people are gonna be like, I gotta go to an HBCU?
Listen,
Like,
all
there's
I
an
know
uptick
is
now in enrollment, like at HBCUs.
all I know is somebody who wears pink and green. You're not gonna be able to tell them anything
Oh, you think
for life,
for
for the rest of your life.
yeah,
You're not
like
gonna be able to tell them anything.
just like we weren't able to tell you anything because I still got to say things like 1906.
Listen, I mean, listen, ice cold is ice cold.
I
I
get
don't
it.
really know what else you want me to do.
I get it. I get it. But speaking again of alum of Delaware State, there's also Dr. Donald Blakey, a former Delaware State representative who has been a tireless advocate for education and civil rights. DSU alum are truly living out the university's mission of service and leadership, right? And when you think about all of the HBCUs, the ones that we covered on our previous podcast, that's how they started, right? The service, providing that community service back to the African American community, educating and teaching and helping
Hmm.
them to grow and foster into, what they ultimately have become in their careers. So I would expect nothing less coming from Delaware State.
Listen, I mean that's the key to HBCUs. You know, the graduates have laid the foundation, and then in addition to laying that foundation, they also have a history of service and giving back and helping that next generation, develop and grow.
Right.
Develop and grow. I mean, growing up in Virginia, it was always somebody from Norfolk State visiting my high school, coming back, talking to students. We had students from Hampton University coming back talking to students. So, I didn't know that it was unusual because I grew up right between two huge HBCUs. But, once I kind of got away from different places and saw places that HBCUs weren't present, that's when I realized, how special that HBCU bond is.
Mm-hmm.
Growing up in Virginia, that's all I knew.
Right.
And so, I mean, it's the connection that you just have. When you have that, connection, it creates a community.
And
It,
yeah, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I mean, I'm just a community that is created with those alumni.
Right.
It never goes away.
And being from Virginia, you being from Virginia, what they got 4 HBCUs in
Yeah,
Virginia.
well, we used to have five because we
You
used
used
to
to
have
have five.
St. Paul,
St. Paul, right?
St.
So,
Paul College.
so you were surrounded by it, right? Surrounded by the rich legacy and histories of HBCUs from
Hmm.
Hampton to Norfolk to Virginia to Union, St. Paul's, all right? And you're talking about this small little state, right?
Hmm.
Three, three electoral votes,
Yeah.
right? Uh, this small state, and historically black college and university comes from that and produces great alum. Um, who have gone on to do great things. That's a testament to that university and their mission and of servitude, right? So
Definitely,
yeah.
definitely.
Um, so giving back, I think, is what really underscores the importance of HBCUs, Delaware State, um, because they're not just you hear the term historically black colleges and universities, right? And
Hmm.
the academic piece, and we talked about that, but it's more than just an educational institution. Delaware State, they're pillars of the community.
Yeah,
Um,
definitely. I mean, it's nothing to see, students from Delaware State, volunteering in local schools,
right.
visiting schools,
Oh,
reading books to kids.
yes.
Like, I know at Virginia State, I would, because I was an education major, I remember going into the elementary schools and reading books and volunteering. But that was, that's what HBCUs do. Fraternities and sororities, all those different social groups. They always do certain things like community cleanups and voter registration and door knocking, handing out flyers, encouraging people to vote. The HBCU becomes a part of the community,
Right.
and so they focus on giving back to the community.
Right.
I remember, at ours, having like toiletry drives and diaper drives and all these different things going to the community. But that's something that all HBCUs do.
Hmm.
Delaware State is a part of the fabric of Wilmington, Delaware.
Right.
You can't think about Wilmington, Delaware without thinking about Delaware State University.
Yeah, it's funny that you say that because I had an opportunity, and I mentioned it in the beginning, to travel up to Delaware State as part of a recruitment trip
Mm-hmm.
um, to find uh, students who are interested in becoming teachers,
Mm-hmm.
to create a more diverse um, employment force for the county in which we work in, and get more black teachers into education. So traveling up there, got an opportunity to meet some great people. Darren Rainey, hats off to Darren. He's doing a phenomenal job in the educational program up there at Delaware State. But you talk about giving back, and uh, they his students, they drive around the state of Delaware and they go to different counties, school systems in the different counties, and they go into these schools and they learn what it's like to work with student populations in these schools, but also giving back to those students' bodies while they're there. Um, in the form of reading, in the form of, just being a presence, right?
Mm-hmm.
So when you talk about that servitude and that service again, that's an example of that. So again, shout out to Darren Rainey. Continue to do your thing. But the amount of people that I met up there and young people who want to go into the field of education, and education is like, you a teacher, you're not getting a thank you every day. You're
You might not get a
like
thank you that year.
you may not, right? But the impact and the influence that you can have on so many students, and you don't even know you're doing it until those students come back some way down the road and just be like, I want to thank you for all that's it's not a you hope that happens, but your job going in is to teach and educate, and if it comes back to you, that's great. But somewhere down the line, you will have that influence and impact on those kids. So
Mm-hmm.
you talk about that, and that it just made me think of that. So yeah.
So I mean, listen, DSU we already know it's an amazing place, and as we look to the future, because it's all about all those future Hornets out there, and the future, the future direction of the university. I mean, it's clear to me that this university is on the path of continued growth, innovation, success. The university's strategic plan focuses on expanding academic programs, increasing research opportunities, and enhancing student life, all while staying dedicated to its true mission from when it was founded in 1891.
Yeah, and to continue and strive and thrive and create this increasing global impact, right? D State is doing its thing. The university has established partnerships and with institutions around the world, right? You mentioned that earlier in the earlier part of the episode. Around the world,
Hmm.
providing students with opportunities to study abroad and engage in international research. This global perspective is crucial in today's interconnected world.
Listen, I mean, global connection is well, just the world is very small now.
Hmm.
You
Because
know,
of all the technology and everything.
technology. You can be in meetings with people all over the world. You can be on a podcast and
Right,
talk to millions of people all at one time. We just sitting in the basement of your house,
right.
just giving this information for free. And
Free.
so, when you're talking about, Delaware State, pushing out into this global society, that's something that they're going to continue to do.
Right.
They're going to continue to innovate and kind of push. You know what I'm saying? And with the support of alumni, community, leadership, there's no doubt that DSU will always continue to thrive and push the envelope. It's really really exciting to think about the fact that what the next chapter holds for this historic institution. I mean, I can't wait. We're gonna have to take a trip up there. Of course, not on October 12th, because
No,
on October 12th, I'll be somewhere else. VSU. Let me see how I used to do it. As I didn't get old, I can't even do it no more.
I think it was VFU.
Hey, listen, I love it. I love it. Anyway,
Hail
let's not
State.
get me there.
Hail
Let's not
State.
get me there.
I know this is the Delaware State one, but it's so much love. Like we're giving Delaware State love through BSU love.
Hey,
You
we talked about family. We talked about community. You went to any HBCU, you have shared connections.
hmm
One of those shared connections is always connected to food. One thing that we're known for doing on these podcasts is making sure that we give the best restaurant recommendations because first of all, we're parents.
Yes.
I'm going on a college tour tomorrow, and guess what? When I get to that city, while my son is in workshops and all these different
Hey,
things,
go find something to eat.
I'll be looking for something to eat. So if you're ever in Wilmington, I mean, there's a bunch of amazing places in Wilmington. You have Oath 84, which is amazing. You have Aunt Vonda's Kitchen. Just off the title of that,
Aunt Vonda.
Aunt Vonda's Kitchen has to be banging. Aunt Vonda.
Aunt Vonda.
You got Connie's Chicken and Waffles.
Dude.
You got Aunt Berta's Kitchen.
Dude. Aunt.
Listen, if you have Aunt at the beginning of your restaurant, your food has to be good.
It has to be.
Just like if it's Uncle Anything Barbecue,
Right.
it has to be good.
Right.
Uncle's Barbecue is always going to be the top. I mean, my favorite, of course, is, Evelyn's Soul Food Restaurant, which is in Wilmington, Delaware, and is a beloved culinary gem known for its delicious, down-home, and just soul-satisfying cuisine.
Dude.
So listen, when I go, I'm gonna probably go to Evelyn's and I might get some Aunt Vonda's on the way out.
We can do that. As soon as you said soul food, I was thinking about like mac and cheese. It's crazy because my wife had an event at her job Thursday, and came home Wednesday night, and she was like, "Oh, I need a macaroni and cheese." I was like, "I'm not cooking that," but I surprised her and I made it. So then this morning, I guess one of her coworkers sent her a message and was like, "Oh my God, that was the best macaroni and cheese. Tell your husband that was the best macaroni and
Okay.
cheese." Right.
Okay.
So we got to go to Evelyn so I can taste the macaroni and cheese and
Yeah.
compare it to mine.
Yeah, I gotta taste the competition.
Yeah, I gotta taste it. And I'm not from the South, but I love soul food. Yeah. So, so you got the recommendations for like I would like to taste Connie's Chicken and Waffles.
Yeah.
When I was out in
Yeah.
LA, I went out to Roscoe's Chicken and Waffles.
Okay, that's been on my list.
Oh, yeah. It was good.
Okay.
It was good.
Okay.
Yeah. I think I'm gonna make Penn's chicken and waffles.
Listen, I'm trying to make some money. Let's go. Let's go.
Oh my god. So and we are relaunching.
That's
Uh
right. We back,
we
baby.
are back. Want to get all this out starting in October. Especially around the time all the homecomings are coming.
Mm-hmm.
Um, you know, people like fall season are changing. Like want to give you something that students, seniors in high school, give you some information that you can tap into
It's around that time.
around that time. This is it. But I'm excited to be back under the new label of HBCU Soul. We hope that we have been able to feed your soul with all the knowledge about this historical black college and university, Delaware State. Um, you know, again, we're giving you this information for free. We're two educators who went to an historically black college and university. You got a son who goes to an historically black college and university.
Yep. Shout
Uh,
out to Bowie State.
Bowie State. I have a daughter who's interested in going to an historically black college and university. So we just want to give you all that information that you need so that you can make an informed decision. So we're not experts in any means, but the information that we are providing you, we have done our research on, and just want to make sure that you have that at your disposal. So you know, the Delaware State HBCU is truly something special. We talked about it. If you want more information about Delaware State, visit their website. Um, you know, uh, Shoot us an email at what you wish you knew about HBCU. Follow us on Instagram at HBCU SOUL.
Mm-hmm.
We'll provide you with the information that you need. So, yeah,
Hey, listen, whether you're a prospective student or alum, just somebody that you know appreciates the contributions of HBCUs. We hope that this episode is giving you a deeper understanding and appreciation of Delaware State University. And I definitely like to say thank you all for joining us.
yes. Don't
Yep,
forget to follow us on social media, subscribe, like the
that's
podcast.
right.
Yeah,
We back.
we
We back
back.
off hiatus. HBCU Soul is alive.
Alive and well. So stay tuned. Until next time, keep that HBCU soul alive.